Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Yesterday we saw that as humans we have a purpose, and that purpose is to find one's own self. We also saw how you should function in this world, because every human is looking for two things in life. One is peace and happiness, and the other is success and prosperity. But if you analyze the world, you find people have one, not the other. You could be peaceful, but not successful. You could be successful, not necessarily peaceful. And one wonders whether it's possible to combine the two. In fact, people believe that if you want to be peaceful, you've got to get away from everything, move away. And that is why we believe we should go on a holiday, just to relax, just to enjoy. Because if you don't take a break from what you are doing, you're going to be all tensed up, you're going to be worked up. You can't enjoy your life. So people plan for vacations, for holidays. They plan for the weekends because that is where they believe they will find relaxation, peace, and happiness. And without that, you cannot survive. You know, you've got to understand this. See, suppose you are going through some sort of mental agitations or worries, some sort of difficult situation in your life. You will find that you can take it up to a point. Beyond that, you either break down or give it up. In other words, nobody can take suffering. You can take it up to a point. Each one has a point to which you can take yourself. Beyond that, you can't. But when it comes to happiness, when it comes to peace, it is something you can take more and more and more. It'll never be a burden to you. In other words, you can never say, I'm suffering a lot these days. From what? Excessive happiness. I'm too happy. I don't know how to handle it. I think I'll break down. Impossible. You could be happy, happier, happiest. You could go on and on and on, and all you will feel is normal. If you're peaceful, you're normal. If you're happy, you're normal. But the opposite, you cannot continue for any time. You cannot continue endlessly. Because, please analyze why you cannot continue with anything negative, anything that disturbs you, anything that agitates you. Why? Because it is not your natural state. Just as you can stand on your feet, you can walk around, you just feel normal. But imagine if everybody had to come into this classroom. It is a spiritual class, so you cannot come walking into this class. Then how should you come? On your head. Walk with your hands and come into the class. Can you imagine? Nobody will come. It's not natural. And even if some people are experts in yoga and can manage to walk, how long can you continue to stand on your head? How long? It's not natural. You're meant to stand on your feet. So you can go on and on and on without a problem. Why? That is your natural state. Similarly, with peace and happiness, it is your natural state. So anything other than your natural state, you cannot be comfortable. That is why you ought not to neglect the state of mind which is agitated. It's like an indication. You know, in the car, the dashboard, you have a red light. Any red light that blinks, you got to be careful. There's something wrong with the car. You got to attend to it immediately. Even if you don't know, stop the car, call your mechanic or call somebody who knows about the car and say, there's a red light blinking. What does it mean? You wouldn't simply drive the car because you don't know what will happen. It may just stop or something more drastic can happen because it is indicating something is wrong. Similarly, friends, if you're going through any form of mental agitations, worries, anxieties, stress, strain, any form of pressure, it's like a signal. Something is wrong with the way you are functioning. It's not that you should say, correct, what you're saying is correct. Something is radically wrong with my family. Something is radically wrong with the world. Something is radically wrong with my office. Everything outside of you, it's wrong. Me, I'm perfect. Please don't get that idea. Imagine if there is a black spot on this screen. There is no black spot, but imagine. There's a green spot. Imagine if there's a black spot here, okay? And we want to clean it. So you take a cloth and try to clean it. It doesn't go. Then you take a wet cloth. Maybe I use a wet cloth. It will go. You try to clean it. It doesn't go. Then you take some soap. Maybe some soap will help. So you put some soap on the screen and try and wash it off with water. It doesn't go. You scrub it so hard. You even scratch the screen. It still doesn't go. Then you say, all right, change the screen. You get a brand new screen. What happens? Still there. Doesn't go. Do you know why? Does anybody know why? Where is the spot? It's in the lens. The spot is on the lens, not on the screen. So to remove this black spot, what must you do? Just take a cloth and clean the lens. Automatically the spot will go. But what are we doing? We're saying, there's a spot here, so you got to clean it, you got to brush it, you destroy it, you change it, you do all sorts of things. It will never leave you. That spot, that pain, that agitation will never leave. Because the problem is not on the screen, the problem is on the lens. Exactly what is happening to us. We immediately think if any problem exists, why are you suffering? You know why I'm suffering? Because that person said this to me. That person did this to me. That is why I have problems. Genuinely, you believe that. You believe the world causes your problems. And you are ready with an answer. You're ready with a justification. Little realizing that this agitation which is within you is projected. It alights on some object and you believe it is there. Now why, you may say, no, you don't, this philosophy is not working correct. there's something wrong here. This person I'm saying is giving a problem. This situation is giving a problem. If the problem lies in the object outside or the person outside, it should create the same agitation for everyone. If it is outside. But what agitates you pleases somebody else. How can that be? It is your inability to relate to that object or person perfectly that causes the problem. I know you're not convinced. All right. What is your relationship with animals? Animals are so many different types of natures you find in animals. A tiger is ferocious. A kitten is lovable. You can pet a kitten. A deer is so meek, mild, beautiful. So is a tiger in its own way. What is the beauty in a tiger is its ferocity. The beauty of a deer, its mild and meek nature, so lovable. You could pet it. You could feed it. But when you see a tiger, you admire the creature. Look at those stripes. Look at those teeth, especially when it yawns. Imagine those powerful jaws opening. It's majestic. You admire it, but you don't go anywhere near it. You can't treat the tiger and the deer in the same way. But you can't say, I hate a tiger because it's ferocious. All tigers should be wiped out from the face of earth. You don't say that. In fact, you want to preserve the tiger. You want to save the tiger. It's a majestic creature. Now you can go on adding examples. As a snake is poisonous. But then you say, what a wondrous creature. What a masterpiece that snake is. But full of poison. A drop of that poison can kill you. Still you say, what a fantastic creature. You adore it. But you do not have problems with any animal because you know exactly how to relate to it. Knowing its nature. Accepting its nature fully. So you have no issues. But the moment it comes to humans, we don't know what happens to our understanding. You don't realize the person you're sitting next to could be that ferocious tiger. On the left, on the right, don't look. Because immediately look, you're worried. The person on the right could be that poisonous snake, coiled and sitting there. You don't know what is in that person. So it becomes your responsibility. We're saying, don't blame the world. Blame yourself. You better learn to assess people as they are. Nothing wrong. You yourself could be some odd creature. You could be a crocodile. We don't know what your nature is. You could have a particular nature. You can't help it. This is what you are born with. That's what we were discussing yesterday. You are born with certain gunas. You can't change that because today what you are a product of all that you have done this day backward. So you can't change the past. It's fait accompli. It's over. It's finished. You can't do anything. Today, whatever you are, good, bad, indifferent, wise or foolish, right or wrong, whatever your nature, you are a product of whatever you did this day backward. You are the architect of your own personality. So then, as you are today, you're helpless. This is an effect. As you sit here, the person that you are now, you are an effect. So what does the Gita say? It says, look, with reference to the past, you are a product, no doubt. You are helpless, no doubt. But with reference to your own future, you are a producer. But what happens to the past? The past will be there, modified in the present. In fact, if you were to define, what will my future be? What will I be in the future? What will anybody be in the future? Anybody is a continuation of the past, modified in the present. That is what you will be in the future. What is the future? What is your future? What will you be in the future? A continuation of the past, modified in the present. So if you keep on modifying, meaning consciously following a particular way of life, a particular course of action, if you do it consciously, knowing what your past has been and whatever needs to be rectified, you conscientiously attend to it. This day on, a time will come when the result will change, when the effect will change, when you will change. This is the beauty and grandeur of human life. No other creature is given this opportunity. And yet, the sad truth is, as humans, we don't realize we have this wondrous opportunity called life. We throw it away. And how do we throw it away? Simply lead a mechanical, routine, monotonous life. Just going through the motions. Wake up in the morning, do a few things that you got used to, and rush to office, or you're busy at home, and then hours pass, till you come back in the evening, and then you settle down, go to sleep, and then what happens? Again, wake up in the morning, again go through the same motions, over and over again. Years and years can pass, and you don't realize you have done nothing. You've done nothing but just go through the motions of life. Nothing dynamic, nothing positive, nothing that will take you to some place higher than where you are. Now, why we're saying that is, you will all agree that none of us are perfect. We all need a long way to go before we reach a state of perfection, whatever that state is, which is what we are going to be studying. The latter portion of the text, the famous portion that is referred to as Sthita Prajna. What is perfection in a human being? Who is a sage of steady wisdom? What is that we need to achieve as a human being? It's given out. So, we understand today, we are not in a perfect state. Let's say there's a graph of development, 0 to 100. So there is this 100th point where you are perfect in every way, physically, emotionally, intellectually. Every aspect of your personality is perfect. Where do you meet such a soul? An enlightened soul. We don't know what that state is. All right. And at 0, right at the bottom is a person who's not at all developed. Nothing to talk of. At the physical level, emotions he doesn't have. Sometimes you say, when you get annoyed with a person, what sort of a person are you? Are you stone? Can't you feel? Usually the wife would tell the husband, stone you are, can't feel, can't think. You feel, you want to shake the guy up, Doesn't react to anything. No matter how much you appeal, nothing happens. You get annoyed. You expect some sort of a response, some sort of a reaction, and you would term such a person, you're a plant, you're a stone. Actually, he's a human. But that inability to be sensitive to another person's feelings is upsetting. So, emotionally, there's no feedback from that person. Intellectually poor, doesn't understand anything. He's not smart. He's not dynamic. He's a lazy fellow, useless. Don't ask him, he will not do it. Don't waste your time. You get upset with such people. Where do you find such a person? Do something. Otherwise, you won't relate to that person at all. Of course, you complain because you're disappointed. But the person has done something. The husband will say, look, I'm the one who's working the whole day. I'm not saying she's not working. But how does she expect me the whole day I've worked? I want to come home and relax. She wants to me to do something more. It's not fair. That's what he would say. See, if you're a judge, you must listen to both sides. You can't take sides without listening to them. So he would have reasons why he can't react. If you go deep enough, you understand he's justified. He's not all that bad. She's just complaining. She's just upset. So you really don't find such people who are not at all developed. Yet we are on that graph. Now what we need to understand is all of us are somewhere between the two, 0 and 100. Somewhere. So you can gauge for yourself. Maybe I'm at 40% development. Maybe 50, maybe 60. Each one is somewhere on that graph of development, human development, right? Now, it's not so important where you are on that graph. That's why we said life is an opportunity. You are born a human being. You're not an animal, you're not a plant, you're a human. So what does it take to be a human? What does it mean to have this opportunity called life? Now you can sit down here and complain of all the things that went wrong in your life and waste the rest of the time that you have in complaints, sympathizing with yourself, pitying yourself, wanting others to do the same, looking for people, so-called friends. Who are your friends? Anybody who agrees with you is your friend. If somebody stands up and says, hey, look, don't waste your time, do something positive, that person you hate. So you want people to agree with you and you believe they are friends. A friend is one who will tell you what is wrong with you and how to move on the right path for your own betterment. But anybody who says anything that is wrong with you, you hate that person. Unfortunately. So, this opportunity that you have is to improve yourself constantly, to excel each day. That is what life is all about. So if you're at 40%, you don't have to feel bad or good. Why? Because it doesn't matter where you stand in life, it matters which way are you going. Are you attempting to go to some place higher, or are you reducing yourself to something lower? You have a choice. And if you do not know how to make the choice, what a waste of time. What a waste of time. What a waste of an opportunity. In the Upanishads, they say, Iha chet avedidata satyamasti. If you understand this purpose of life is to improve, never be satisfied with what you are. You must understand there is a scope for development. How am I at the physical level? Am I fit? That is why in the academy we have yoga every day. There is physical exercises every day. Otherwise, by the time you reach 40, 50, everything you slow down. Why must you slow down? You should get better and better physically. I got backache. I got neck-ache, a knee trouble I started, all sorts of ailments. It's a shame if you have physical problems, which can be corrected. See, why we don't correct it is too much of effort. Who wants to put in effort? Let the doctor put in the effort. Let the doctor give me medicine, and then I'll be all right. There's no effort to fight the situation and move to something higher, even at the physical level. So physically, how fit are you? Can I improve physically? What can I do to better my physical body? Emotionally, where are you? Do you entertain negative emotions? Anger, hatred, jealousy, greed, passion, fear, all sorts of negative emotions, and you justify them. You know why I'm angry? You give reasons. Such reasons. You convince your so-called friends. The friends also say, yes, you're right. Very right. That's why you call them. That's why you want them. Because they will agree with you. If somebody says, the person hurt you and you're angry, how wrong you are. You should make up. You should go back to that person and set the relationship right. You're not my friend. Yet it is true. If you are strong, you will correct yourself. If you are weak, you will try to correct the world. This is a fact. And one who is prepared to constantly rectify himself, constantly correct himself, never put the blame on the world, you are moving to be a better human. Physically, emotionally, intellectually, if you attend to yourself, no matter where you are, that doesn't matter. But it's important that you understand, I am not perfect. I better put in effort from today to be a better human. There's so many things that are wrong with me. How can I bother myself with what's happening with the world, except perform your duties and obligations? See, we do not perform our duties and obligations and constantly sympathize with ourselves. Double fault. That is why you are miserable. I'm not saying you are miserable. Don't look at me like that. I'm not saying you are miserable. If you are miserable, if you are unhappy, it has nothing to do with the world. It has everything to do with yourself. Therefore, friends, coming back, the very purpose of your existence here, I did tell you yesterday, what do you take? Think. You're living a whole life. You're spending all your time. Doing what? Collecting, beautifying everything outside of you. Even with you, you beautify your skin and your face. For what? No matter what you try, it will take its course. Oh, the latest is anti-aging cream. And you believe it will stop you from aging. It's a myth. The body will take its course no matter what you do. The only beauty you have is inner purity. It will automatically show. You'll do everything else except what you need to do. The worries and anxiety show on your face. That ages you. Your greed, your passion, your anger, your hatred ages you. Not the body. It's your mind. And you will not attend to that. You will constantly attend to something which makes no difference. That's why we say, wasting a life. So in the Upanishad, he says, Iha ched avedidata satyamasti. If you understand this purpose of life and move towards being a better human until you hit the 100th mark, you've achieved human perfection, then you are leading a life of satyam, an honest, straightforward life. That is a straightforward life. That is a life of satyam. Na ched iha vedin. If you do not do this in your life, don't follow this path, mahati vinashtihi. Now, fortunately, we don't understand. They say this is the bliss of ignorance. When you greet each other, what do you say? How are you? I'm fine. What fine? You have no idea. You are sinking in quicksand and you're saying, I'm fine. You don't understand. Any moment you'll go. But you say you're fine because you are enjoying the bliss of ignorance. You don't understand what will happen to you. There was an American who came to the academy and he spent about 6 weeks, I think. I'm not sure how long, but a consolidated period of time. And he went through the whole discipline there, and obviously he was very benefited from his experience in the academy and the study and the program there. So according to him, it was a life-changing experience. That's what he talks about, life-changing experience. He went back with a completely fresh attitude. He felt regenerated and he wanted to take on so many things, and he set himself on the path the way he wanted to. And he writes back to Swamiji. Several things he wrote, his observations. He was a very keen follower of the subject. It's not just following Swamiji, but he was following the teachings, the subject. We talked about yesterday, you must apply it in your own life. Find out the truths for yourself and then accept these principles. You don't have to accept them blindly. That won't help you. So he followed all that. And he believed that he is benefited a lot, and also his organization. He was heading a corporation, and he said, even my people, my colleagues are largely benefited, and I find the profits are going up, and we are enjoying our work, and the rest of it. But what I'm trying to share with you, at the end of the letter, he says, but Swamiji, I must admit one thing. I was a very happy man until I met you. I was a very happy man until I met you. I was relaxing, meaning I was whiling away my time, going for the movies, going party, going for every wedding that is available in the corner. Any person getting married, you're the first person to go there. So, I'm not saying you should not do that. Your life is like a feather in a summer breeze, going any way and nowhere in particular. See, even a pendulum moves, constantly moving, but a pendulum doesn't progress. You go forward and then you come backward. You go forward, you come backward. Where are you going? What are you doing? What do you want to achieve? Simply going through the motions of life, not really progressing. You're not moving on that graph. You're not becoming a better human. What are you doing? You are throwing an opportunity called life. And at best, what can you do? Complain, grumble, get agitated, come under pressure, stress, strain, worry, anxiety. That's at best. In the garb of, oh, I'm doing my duties. I'm very duty conscious, and that's why I'm stressed. I'm working, therefore I'm stressed. Justifying the little black spot, believing it's the screen, not understanding any problem that you have. Remember, I think I told you yesterday, there's a whole book mentioned, I think, the fall of the human intellect. If there be one problem in this world, or if you could analyze all problems of all people in the world, whether it's individual or collective, there's only one reason. It is the fall of the human intellect. That's why the book was written. You got to read it. Not just read it, you got to study and assimilate it. Don't accept anything blindly, but you will see the truths of the statements given out there. And you need to see it in your life. So once you get a hold of your own personality and understand you have an opportunity to improve, to be a better human, you will change your future to whatever you want. So don't blame the stars. Don't say, it's my naseeb. Why is it here? I don't understand. You can change your future. Yes, your past you can't change. You are a product. But you are the producer of your own future. Don't throw that away. Just because you had a bad past or something wrong in the past doesn't mean you have to continue in the same way with the same complaints. You are a human. You ought to know that. You ought to move in the right direction. Verse 51.
Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinah janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantya namayam.
The wise, united to knowledge, renouncing the fruit of action, liberated from the bond of birth, indeed reach the state beyond evil. Now, let's say this is that goal. Remember we said even in the Upanishads, he says, if you understand this goal and lead your life to reach the goal, you're leading a life of satyam. Otherwise, he says it is mahati vinashtihi. See, nashti itself means loss. Vinashti means supreme loss. You can't say supreme loss. You don't get it. You got to vernacularize it. Supreme loss. You get some picture. That is vinashti. He says, mahati vinashti. How to translate it? I don't know. It is the supremest of supreme losses. What? The life you're leading. Because you don't know. You must be happy, happier, happiest. And where are you? Where are you is the question. Are you happy? Of course, if I were to ask, which I'm not asking, each one, how are you? I'm happy, thank you very much. By God's grace, I'm happy. If I ask you little more, if we have a private one-on-one, I'm very happy, but what? This problem is nagging me, I don't know. If only I set that right, everything. Believe me, God is great. You will tell me the greatness of God because you are happy. Everyone has a story to tell about his or her life. I am happy, but this one thing I change, perfect. It's nagging, but I know it will change. Just a few more months, everything will be all right. And the moment you reach that few more months, you find happiness, but something else comes up. And now that something else, few more years, I thought it will be over. It is actually over, finished, no problem. But what? Little more, I got to rectify, and everything will be all right. That rectification never happens. It only shifts. From one thing to another, it goes on shifting. Even if you reach a grand old age, you don't understand. This is exactly what you've done your whole life. Postponing the state of happiness. Believing it's going to come, it'll come, it's around the corner, it's coming, I've got it, and you think you've got it, it slips again. Because you are constantly chasing this happiness in the world outside. I think it was Samuel Johnson. He says, why are you people wasting your time chasing happiness outside? It's a wrong place. You heard of Samuel Johnson? The person who gave us the first dictionary. So let's see what he has to say. The fountain of content must spring up in the mind, and he who hath so little knowledge of human nature as to seek happiness by changing anything but his own disposition will waste his life in fruitless efforts and multiply the grief he proposes to remove. Samuel Johnson, English author and poet. It's not only the Bhagavad Gita. I told you yesterday, all thinkers think. Don't lose this ability to think. Don't fool yourself. Don't put a curtain before you and stop seeing the truths of life. The truth of life is this. You are trying to correct everything except yourself. You will never find happiness. Because where is happiness? It's within. And where are you seeking it? Everywhere else. So what a waste of time. And the way to find out this truth is through knowledge. There is no other way. The only way to find out this truth of your true nature is through knowledge. And that's why he's saying, the wise people united to knowledge, when you unite yourself to knowledge, when you commit yourself to gaining knowledge, it doesn't mean you leave your families, you leave your obligations, you give up your jobs or whatever and sit with knowledge. You don't have to do that. You can continue doing whatever you're doing in life. Add a little more discipline. Take half hour out of your normal day. Dedicate yourself every morning to the study of this literature. It's a positive input before you start the day. First thing in the morning. We in the academy, we wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how many of you can do it. The fact that I'm saying 4 o'clock, all of you are making faces. 4 o'clock is the best time to sleep. First thing in the morning, 4 to 6 a.m. is Brahma Muhurta. The best part of the day. Many people don't see the best part of the day. What do you see? Worst part of the night. Every night you're up. Can't sleep. So you permit the lower qualities. You're only developing the indulgent qualities. What can you do in the night? Cinema. Go on watching. Now that you're there, TV, switch channels, you can see. Through the night you can see. And then what is the latest is messaging. Constant messaging. You got a network, social network of all people who can't sleep. And then you exchange what is happening to each other. This is your entertainment. Because you don't know what else to do. But if you say, this is not positive, it's not helping me in any way, except whiling away time. Yes, you can spend your time, but you won't achieve anything. If you get to bed early, sleep early, wake up early, and read this literature a little bit of knowledge. That's all you need, just to live your life. And then you engage your day with the flavor of that knowledge. You carry in your memory that knowledge and face the world. Yes, there will be the same people you meet. There will be the same problems you meet. But you are meeting the same world, the same situations with a different attitude. You got this positive input, whatever you studied for the morning, and then meet the day. It flavors the way you think, the way you perceive, the way you act. Everything gets flavored with knowledge. And if you keep doing this, a time comes when you are soaked in knowledge. It takes over your attitude completely. So the wise united with knowledge, they are able to renounce the fruit of action. Renounce what? The craving, yearning for the result of action. They are not slave to the fruit, the result, the effect. What do? They just perform their duties, liberated from the bond of birth. What is birth? Why are you born? Because of desires. We told yesterday, You are born into this world to satisfy your desires. But the problem is you keep on accumulating desires instead of getting rid of them. Because you don't know how to function in the world. You only know how to pick up fresh desires. You don't know of any other way of living. But with knowledge, if you act in the world, you get rid of desires. If you get rid of desires, you are free from the bond of birth. There is no need for this birth which you are going through right now, and several births that you will keep going through if you accumulate desires. Indeed, such a person will reach the state beyond evil. Meaning, what is evil? Desire is considered evil because it agitates your mind. Unfulfilled desires agitate your mind, and that is considered evil. What is pure is your divine nature. So when you get back to your divine nature, there are no agitations. And that is the way to go.
Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha.
When your intellect will cross the maya of delusion, then you will grow indifferent to what has been heard and what is yet to be heard. Yada tada. Now this is the construction here. Yada, when your intellect crosses the maya of delusion, tada, then you will grow indifferent. Now we'll explain that. Now why I'm mentioning that is, yesterday we talked about the Bhagavad Gita being a universal philosophy. Why do we say universal? Because it is scientific in its exposition. Now you could read the Bhagavad Gita in an emotional way. You can sing it in various tunes and you will be drawn to tears. And so an emotional approach you can have to the song of the Gita. Or you could approach the Bhagavad Gita in its essence, which is the scientific truth. See, it depends on how you approach. You could go to a temple and just worship the Lord, carried away. There are people who will go all the way to Balaji and they stand before the Lord and worship the Lord. And when they come back and say, what a darshan I had, what a darshan kya. What is the darshan you had? You saw the jewelry on the Lord? Huh? That crown that he was wearing, how many diamonds were there? This is the darshan. You go to the jewelry shop. Why do you go all the way? All the way to Balaji to see diamonds and gold? You see it here. Plenty more you see here. What is your approach? Why did you go all the way there? And this is darshan for you. The various ways. The same Lord you can see in various ways. I got solace. I saw the Lord and all my worries went. Peace of mind. Temporary. The moment you come back, it starts again. Because how long can you be with the Lord? And believe me, if you say, all right, let me shift to the Lord. Let me sit there. You got peace, na? Go and stay in the Balaji temple. Within 2 days, you'll get agitated with Balaji. You say, you disappointed me, Balaji. You'll say that within few days. You believe by going there, you're getting peace? No way. You believe that temporary change that gives you peace. It's not the real peace. So, various ways you approach. The Bhagavad Gita can be approached various ways. When you understand the logic, the reason, it's a scientific text. Yada tada. Tasmat. He'll conclude here and there. So, a scientific-minded person, a thinker, will know the value of the knowledge. That is the essence of the Gita, the knowledge that is conveyed. Besides so many other things that you can derive. There's emotion, there's a lot of good feelings, there's a melody when you sing. These are all there. But what is the crux? What is the main message that you need to get, which is universal? So he says, when your intellect will cross the maya of delusion, what is he referring to? He's referring to the 51st verse, where he said, you got to gain the knowledge. So when you gain the knowledge, your vasanas drop, your desires will drop. And when you drop your desires, it's only then that you will become disinterested, detached from the world. The maya of delusion you cross, and then you grow indifferent to what has been heard, and what is yet to be heard is a poetic way. See, hearing is through the ears. And in a scripture, when he says hear, he is referring to one sense organ. You got to understand it collectively. He won't be describing eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. He can't. He just says what has been heard. Means there's a lot packed into that one word heard. It means all experiences, not only at the physical level, what you perceive in this world, what you experience physically. It's also what you experience emotionally, what you experience intellectually. This is what your life is. Your life, anybody's life, is nothing but a series of experiences, a continuous flow of experiences. That is your life. From the time you are born till you die, what is your life? Experience after experience after experience. Right now, you're going through an experience here. Soon, this experience will end and you will go to the next experience, and so on and so forth, right through your life. So he says, when you gain knowledge, then you cross the maya of delusion, confusion. What is life all about? What is in store for me? Why am I here? What am I supposed to achieve? So much of confusion. There is no clarity. Somehow we go through life, entertain ourselves, meet somebody, have a family, so-called settled in life. What is settling? I don't know. But this is what you think. I am settled. And then you continue and continue and continue through your life. One day you drop, only to start all over again. So this goes on when your intellect will cross the maya of delusion through knowledge. Then you will become indifferent. Indifferent doesn't mean you stop caring for people. A lot of people read this verse and say, this is why we say Bhagavad Gita makes you careless. It makes you indifferent. You don't care for people. He's saying here, you become indifferent, meaning you have no value for what you experience in this world. There is no exaggerated value. Just as, are you not indifferent towards toys? Don't say, I value toys. Then you're in a very bad shape. The toys that your children play with, what value do you have? You're indifferent towards the toys. Why? Because you're an adult. You're not a child. A child has tremendous value for the toys. But you, as an adult, you have no value for the same toys. Your own child, in your own home, has tremendous value. You are indifferent. Why? Because you have grown into a higher stature. You've got better things to think of. What are toys? Right? That's what you will say. But you don't understand now as an adult, you have only changed your toys. You've got a different set of toys. What are your toys? Name, fame, money, position, status, recognition, family, friends, whatever. These are your toys, so important. Who is inviting you to which party? Where are you going? Who are you seen with? The who's who, the what's what. All these are your toys, because if you're denied any one of them, you're miserable. You're finished. How could that fellow not call me? I will see that I don't call him. This is all your preoccupation in life. It's pathetic. What a waste of time. And you are caught in it because this is where your values are. When you gain knowledge of the higher, you become indifferent towards all this. They call you, you go. They don't call you, you're happier. Thank God. It's not because I can't reach them. Because you understand. So what? You can't be everything. You can't be everybody. You can't be the most sought after. Why are you giving yourself so much importance? You're just another drop in the ocean. What's so special about you? Nothing. You're just another human. If at all there's anything special, you've thrown that away. And that is your divine nature. Nobody cares for the divine nature. Something that will stay with you. Something which you really are. Your real personality you've thrown, you've picked up an assumed false personality, and you suffer. So he says that intellect will help you cross the mire of delusion. You will grow indifferent to what has been heard, what is yet to be heard, to any experience you've already had or experience that you will have in the future. You become indifferent. You take it in your stride.
Shruti vipratipanna yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi.
Now, he talks here, it's a very famous verse, but often not understood. Many commentaries don't even discuss this in detail. So I would recommend those who are interested, get hold of Swamiji's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. He dwells on this verse, which is often just passed as just another verse. And some of you who have the patience, you compare it. Because there's no point me telling you and recommending. You got to find out for yourself the difference in the approach. So, 53rd verse, he says, when your intellect, perplexed by what has been heard, shall stand immovable and steady in meditation, then you will attain yoga, self-realization. Then you will attain the 100th mark. So what is indicated here, which I hope at least some of you will suspect, I hope. Meditation is the last gateway before realization. That's what he's saying. And yet people say, if you are angry, meditate. If you're unhappy, meditate. It's one medicine for all diseases. What? Meditation. I'm not ridiculing. I've told you even yesterday, I'm reminding you again. Here is a classroom where we are analyzing. We are not criticizing. We're trying to understand. See, if you understand, take the knowledge. If you don't understand, leave it, shelve it. But you must learn to appreciate the presentation in the Gita. Again, here in this verse, he repeats, yada tada. Only when you reach that state, tada, he says, you will attain yoga, self-realization, through meditation, not otherwise. So there is a diagram which I will show you just to explain this whole concept. It becomes clearer. There are 3 parts. We talk about karma, bhakti, jnana. Why do we talk about 3 parts? Because we have 3 equipments. You have a physical body that acts. You have a mind that feels. You have an intellect that thinks. So these are the 3 equipments you can offer. Now, with these 3 equipments, the body, mind, and intellect, you can get lost in the world. I did say you're born into this world with desires. So what can you do? You can increase your physical desires. You can increase your emotional desires. You can increase your intellectual desires and stay in this world. At any stage, you ask yourself, are you satisfied? Yes, but. I already told you that. Why are you saying but? There's some more desires that have to be satisfied. So even at a grand old age, when you've lived a full life, when you've done everything that you want to do, you're still not satisfied. Why? Because there are still unfulfilled desires. At any point of time, there are unfulfilled desires because you are leading a life of satisfying desires, nothing more. So we say, understand, there's a higher purpose. It's not just to satisfy desires. You are born a human being to get rid of your desires and reach the 100th mark. Reach a state of perfection. So how does one do it? With knowledge. What knowledge? Knowledge that you have to apply yourself consciously to reach that state. Otherwise, see, to destroy yourself, you don't need a book to tell you that. You will destroy yourself anyway. But to construct, you need to know, you need to have knowledge. To develop yourself, you need knowledge. So with the knowledge, how to use your own personality, your own life, and change it. You can convert every action into karma, every emotion into bhakti, every piece of knowledge into jnana. So these are the three paths. Meaning, when you use your physical body to get back to your original self, when you use your mind to get back to your original self, when you use your intellect to get back to your original self, then it is referred to as karma, bhakti, jnana, which we are not getting into. I'm only explaining. These are the three parts. So when you follow the three disciplines in and through your social, domestic, official lives, you don't have to get away from anything, but change your attitude in whatever you do. Then you come to a state of uparati, withdrawal, indifference, where it's not that you lack feelings, but you don't have a value. Like you don't have a value for toys, though you may have them in your home. You don't have a value for it. You may still preserve it, but what is the value you have? That is what he talks about, that uparati. If you still continue, you reach a state of dharana. Dharana means the ability to concentrate. Let's be honest, in 1.5 hours, I don't know how many of you can concentrate fully. It's a fact. You will concentrate for 5 minutes, then the mind goes chakkar, it goes somewhere, it goes. Round the place, unnecessary. You have chosen to sit here, but the mind won't stay here, it will go. Even as I'm saying, some people are not here. Physically you're here. That I don't, especially if somebody is looking at me straight, I know that person is not here. Gone. It goes for chakkar. Suddenly you come, and everybody's laughing, then you come back. What happened? Mind, uparati, what is that? You'll be looking. Then you look at this person, that person. Oh, see, you may think, what a mind reader. She has got the ability to read. Nothing. You come and sit here, you know what's going on there. You understand exactly what's happening in this classroom. Cannot concentrate. Why? Because you're not disciplined. The mind is not disciplined. When the mind is disciplined, it is able to concentrate. Dharana. If you still practice these disciplines, you come to a state where you qualify to meditate. Now, what is meditation? Meditation is the ability of the intellect to keep the mind on the chosen mantra. It's not the mind takes off on its own. Because you say, I'm meditating for a few hours. People say that. Even a lover thinks of his loved one for hours. Is he meditating? All the time, looking at her. Is he meditating? That's not meditation. The mind is going on its own. He likes that. But if you say, beta, why don't you take this and give it to the neighbor? I don't have time. He will not cooperate. He can't do anything which he doesn't like. So that doesn't mean you're in a great state. It is nothing but weakness. If the mind is going on its own, it's a complete weakness. I'm sitting and looking at the Lord for hours. Weakness. If it is the mind, I'm not saying anybody who does it is weak. Again, find out. Who knows? Only that person knows. Nobody else knows. Only he knows or she knows what he's doing, what she's doing. If the mind goes on its own, it is weak. If it is going under supervision of the intellect says, stay here, and it stays. Go there, and it goes. Complete control, complete discipline. That's the difference. If a child is running all over the place, where is the control of the adult on the child? Same child sits next to the adult and listens carefully. Adult says, the parent or the guardian, whoever brought the child, says, "Beta, keep quiet." The child keeps quiet. Even if the child wants to do something, okay, shh, do quietly, okay? Shh. And the child listens. Complete control. But if the child gets up, starts running, goes somewhere, the parent, the adult has no control over the movement of the child. There's lack of control. There are children who are disciplined, there are children who are indisciplined. Nothing wrong with the child, everything wrong with the adult. The adult has no capacity to direct the child. That's what it means. You never blame the child. You always look at the adult who is trying to help the child and unable to do so. The adult is not strong enough, not equipped to guide the child. That's what it means. Similarly, the relationship with your mind and intellect. The mind is like a child. The intellect is the adult. So in the seat of meditation, there is a chosen mantra. So when you repeat the mantra, Om, 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 you're repeating the mantra. So the mind is following the flow. There's a continuous flow of mantra. The intellect is supervising the flow. That is the job of the intellect. What the intellect does is it discriminates between right and wrong, good and bad. This is the ability of the intellect. So what does it do in meditation? It is observing the flow of the mind. Sound, Om, followed by silence. Sound, silence, sound, silence. It is able to discriminate. It is watching very carefully what the mind is doing. Now he says, when your intellect, perplexed by what it has heard, shall stand immovable, achala and nischala, steady. Steady, achala is steady, nischala is immovable. Immovable and steady in meditation. So what happens in meditation is at one point you stop the mantra, stop chanting. So when you stop chanting, stop the chant, the mind is extinct. There is no flow. And if there is no flow of thought, the intellect has lost its job. It has nothing to discriminate. Earlier, it was able to discriminate between sound, silence, sound, silence. This was going on. That itself you're unable to do. That is meditation. And in the peak of meditation, when you stop the mantra, the mind is extinct. The intellect is perplexed because it has nothing to discriminate. Thereafter, it fades away. What remains is your original state, the state of self-realization. You attain yoga. You attain self-realization. So friends, this is for what it's worth. We have given it to you. Now think about this. Understand, we are somewhere here, not yet got into this. Now where is meditation? Where are you? You find out what are your chances of meditating. It's up to you. But anyone can get to the state provided you pay the price. No bargains. Pay the price. Karma, bhakti, jnana. You got to go this way. Then you must have a relative indifference. Today you got tremendous value. Then what? Where can you meditate when you have value for the world? Concentration, next to impossible. And you claim, I'm meditating for hours. Don't understand what is going on. So you got to go all the way and then reach the state, and then you qualify to get to the highest point. Next verse.
Arjuna uvacha sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sthitadih kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim.
We enter that famous portion, the description of an enlightened soul. In the previous verse, he concluded how you reach that perfect state. You reach the state of self-realization. You hit the 100th mark. That's what Krishna said in the previous verse, 53rd verse. And now Arjuna asks that famous question. He says, what is the description of one of steady wisdom? Who is this perfect soul? What is this state of perfection that you have talked about just now? One of steady wisdom merged in the superconscious state, that self-realized state. What is that person like? What is the description? O Keshava, O Krishna, how does one of steady wisdom speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? Now, you can't take this literally. I've already told you, this is a scripture, this is poetry, you got to interpret it. You can't take it literally. So there is a deeper meaning to each one, and it is so because the answers given by Krishna match this question. So first of all, he says, this person who is realized, this perfect person, ka bhasha, what is his nature? How would you describe that person? He answers in the next verse, 55th verse. And then he says, kim prabhasheta, how does he speak? In the 58th verse, he will answer that question. How does he speak means, does he speak in a dynamic way, or does he speak in a very soft way? That's not what he's asking. When he says speak, it represents the organs of action. How does he act in the world? How does he function in the world? Then kim asita. In the 56th verse, he talks about it. Asita means what? When you sit, you are with yourself. So what is happening in the inner personality in such a person? Then kim vrajeta. How does he walk? Means how does he meet the external world? So it's a very technical question that he asks, and we will see how Krishna addresses each part of Arjuna's question.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha Sthita Prajnastadochyate.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the Blessed Lord said, when one completely casts off, O Partha, all desires of the mind and is satisfied in the self by the self, then is one said to be of steady wisdom. So what is the first description? He is answering the question, ka bhasha, what is the nature of such a person? So he gives two conditions here. Now, this is like to be treated like a yardstick. Some people claim, I am taken up spiritual way of life. Wonderful. And how do you know you are spiritual? I go to the temple every week. And I read the Gita every morning. And I do charity every Friday. And I go and meet people and talk about the subject once a fortnight. And you conclude, I'm spiritual. Is this what a spiritual person is all about? Should you not find out what it is to be spiritual? It's like self-acclaimed. you acclaim that you are spiritually developed. Now, who are you fooling? Now, you may say it. Nobody may object also. But what is happening with you is the question. Are you truly spiritual? It's like saying, I want to go to Bombay from here. All right. You've decided to go to Bombay. Please go. Nobody is stopping you. But where are you going? You're going towards Nasik. Did you not say you're want to go to Bombay? Yes, I am. I want to go to Bombay. I am going to Bombay. You're taking the path to Nasik. It's strange. Some people stop you and then say, mind your business. Why are you interfering in my life? I will do what I want. Please do what you want. You mentioned you want to go to Bombay. Why are you going this way? Can't understand. You got to ensure you are on the path that you have chosen. Now, just because you follow what everybody else is doing doesn't mean you're on the path. And you will say, thousands of people are doing this. Therefore, it must be spiritual. Numbers don't make a thing right. You can't go by numbers. You got to go by the merit. What does it take to be spiritual is the question. So he says, there are two conditions. First he says, he gives the negative aspect. Prajahati sarvan kaman manogatan. When he says prajahati, jahati means cast off. Prajahati means completely, fully, totally, well cast off. Prajahati, not jahati, it's not jahati. It's not just casting off. Well cast off, completely, totally cast off. What? Sarvan kaman, all desires. But I desire to serve my Guru. Finished. You've lost it. Any desire. See, you believe if I have good desires, then I'm spiritual. Any desire is unspiritual. Then, thank God, I never wanted to worship my Guru. I never wanted to serve him. Now I'm free. No, it's not. You have your duties. You have your obligations. The action being the same, you got to ask yourself, why am I doing it? The same service you continue. Nobody is stopping you. But why are you doing anything that you're doing? I desire to do it, or I ought to do it. Big difference. Most people do only if they like to do it. In fact, our whole life is based on likes and dislikes. I like this person, therefore I'm going. You should go even if you dislike, if it is good. I really don't like this class, but I'm sitting here. Why? Because I know it's good for me. I don't like to exercise, but I will exercise every day. Why? It's good for me. I don't like salads, but I eat every day. It is good for me. I love junk food, but I'm not eating it because it's bad for me. If you choose whatever you like, you'll end up in a total mess. Or let's put it this way, if you are suffering, it is because you have followed your likes and dislikes without any intervention of the intellect. It's your life. You choose what you want to do. So, prajahati yada sarvan kaman, all desires manogatan, from the mind. So, you are not a slave of your mind. That's all it means. You have control over your own mind. And then if you do that, he says, Atmani eva, Atmana tushtaha, you will be satisfied in the self, by the self, as Samuel Johnson said. You don't try and correct the world. You correct yourself, you will be satisfied with yourself, by yourself. You have self-sufficiency. You are not dependent upon the world for your happiness. You revel in doing the right things in life. You can get happier, still happier. You're not dependent upon the world for your happiness. That comes from a life of tapas. That comes from living a disciplined life at all levels. Not just getting up at 4 o'clock and then doing something mechanically. You got to lead a disciplined life throughout. The way you act, the way you feel, the way you think, everything is under the supervision of your own intellect. Now you may say, what a boring life. I can't do. What happens to spontaneity? What happens if I want to do something? It makes me like a robot, like a machine. Everything intellect. Isn't it a mechanical way of living? It's just the opposite. See, when you allow the mind to take its own course, it can take you anywhere. The mind has a destructive nature, if not under control, just as wind. If wind picks up strength, what could be a beautiful, gentle breeze, soothing breeze, can become violent. Same air. When it is controlled, it is pleasant. When it is uncontrolled, air can be destructive. Wind can be destructive. So the mind, when it's controlled, it helps you live your life peacefully. But if a mind is uncontrolled, the same mind can destroy you. That is the nature of the mind. So here is a person who's got the mind completely under control. Then he finds happiness within himself. So the two conditions, one is negative, one is positive. The negative part is offload your desires. How do you offload your desires? Anybody? Don't say, you told in the last verse, we forgot. Little bit you got to remember. The diagram we gave, the 3 disciplines. The only way to reduce desires is through the 3 disciplines. Karma, Bhakti, Jnana. 3 disciplines. If you practice these 3 disciplines, you offload the desires. That's why you must connect the previous verse to this verse. So when you offload your desires, you will find satisfaction in the self by the self. Then one is said to be of steady wisdom. Next verse.
दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते.
He whose mind is not agitated by sorrow nor excited by joy, he who is free from desire, fear, and anger, he is called a sage of steady wisdom. I will just briefly explain because we're running short of time, but I'll take it up again tomorrow afresh. What he's describing here is his inner personality. First, the previous verse talked about the conditions, 2 conditions for his nature. Ka bhasha. Now he's saying kim asita. He's answering the question kim asita. What is happening inside him? What happens inside? He says dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukheshu vigataspruhaha. His mind is not agitated by sorrow nor excited by joy. He is free from desire, fear, anger, because they're all connected. If anybody goes through any negative emotion like fear, anger, hatred, jealousy, greed, passion, envy, it's nothing but another form of desire. So you trace it down, you boil it down to its root, which is desire. And a desire by itself is not wrong. Uncontrolled, unpoliced, ungoverned desire. Desires you cannot help because you're born with them. But the question is, what are you doing about it? If you let it take its own course, fear, anger, jealousy, greed, passion, they'll come in turns and disturb your mind. But if you learn to hold the desire, if you first of all get hold of your desire and slowly eliminate it, no hurry, you got a whole life. It's an opportunity. If you do that, slowly you get the whole thing under control. When you do that, then you reach a state where you will not be agitated by sorrow, nor excited by joy. Then you wonder, oh my God, if I don't experience joy, okay, sorrow doesn't matter. But joy, if I don't experience, what will happen to me? I'll become a statue. Somebody garlands me, no smile. Somebody throws something at me, nothing. What sort of a life will that be? So you get confused. See, if you don't have feelings, if you don't understand the difference between joy and sorrow, you're a plant, you're a stone. If you are affected by emotion, you are in the level of an animal. Animal gets affected. If your dog is there in the house, you give it a bone, it's jumping just because you're giving it a bone. So affected. So happy, excited, because it's getting something. You can't expect a human to jump like that. Imagine if a fellow keeps jumping like that. You got a promotion. Oh, I got a promotion. If he jumps in the office, you will send him to an asylum. There's something wrong. Yes, it's a happy thing, but you don't have to jump. There's something wrong with you. Out of control. Completely out of control. So there is a minimum, maximum we maintain. If a fellow is unnecessarily expressive, we will scratch. We will be a little embarrassed. The fellow is unnecessarily expressing. It's not expected out of a human. You've got to take it gracefully. That control is what he's talking about. There is no affectation with anything negative or positive. That is the life of a human. We will take it up tomorrow afresh. Thank you.